A good story about Sarah. It was the tail end of 2009, and basically she'd been nagging me for a little while. So when are you going to ask me to marry you? And followed by a list of dates that I couldn't propose to her on because, for whatever reason, they were already booked out. She goes, "You're not proposing to me at Christmas, and you're not proposing to me at New Year. You're not proposing to me anywhere near my birthday, because that's my birthday." So we whittled it down, and it came down to the 30th of December was about the only day I could propose to her on. And we were going to go to Whitby to do it, but the weather was atrocious. So we ended up, we did it at York Castle, Clifford's Tower. We managed to get in there right at the end of the day when it was basically empty. And they let us in, and I managed to propose to Sarah at the top of Clifford's Tower. And she didn't say yes. She said, "Are you sure? Are you being serious?" And then this went round in a loop for a good couple of minutes before she just went, "Yes!" I'm David Kipling. I'm a widow. I've got 3 daughters, Georgia, Victoria and Beatrix. They're twins, and they're both 8 years old, and Beatrix is 3. There was always a plan with Sarah. Yes, she loved to plan. She had lists and plans, and there was never a day that nothing was going to happen. And if there was an empty day coming up, it would get filled up with something. We're going to do this. We're going to go and see them. We're charging around everywhere. The weekends were definitely the highlight for us, when we could go out and just play with the girls. And it was really, we just had fun with them. Because we both worked in the week, and we were sort of properly set into work mode in the week. And at the weekend, it was our time. Yeah, they were good times. Everyone gets poorly in the run into Christmas because we're all burning the candle at both ends. And yeah, the Christmas of 2020 was no exception. Sarah wasn't great. I took a photo on Christmas Day together, and now when I look back at that photo, I can see that she's ill. But that's kind of the start of it. January, I was in massive work mode, and bless her, she was ever so supportive. She basically just let me work all the hours under the sun in January. And then February, we meant to ease off the gas a bit and go and have some us time. But February, she was still ill, so we went to the doctors, and they said it was anemia. Gave her some iron tablets, but it didn't work. And she collapsed outside of the school in the middle of March. Got rushed into hospital because she'd collapsed, and they did the scans on it, and there the cancer was, in a very, very advanced stage. The hospital said, "You better come in, we need to have a chat." And they basically dumped it on us. We were like, oh. And that was a tough day. We sort of wandered around in a daze for about half an hour, couldn't work out what to do. Didn't know what the way forward was going to look like. We told the girls as soon as we knew. We thought about, do we shield this from them? And sat down and said, no, tell them the truth. And bless them, they didn't know how to process that. The hospital wanted to send Sarah to the Christie. They were hoping to give her all sorts of drugs to boost her back up so that she'd be well enough then to go and start a course of chemotherapy at the Christie, hoping that this would be the way forward, but we never made it. It was a fairly gradual slide as her health deteriorated. And then a fairly noticeable slide. Then when we got into April, it was the gradual slide turned into quite a steep slide. It suddenly became very real that I was going to lose my mate. I was like, yeah, I've built this life with you. Someone who I'm completely comfortable around, who knows absolutely everything. And then it's not going to be us, it's going to be me. I was like, don't like this. Me, Georgia, Victoria and B all got the coronavirus then in the middle of April. So poor Sarah, she was stuck there in hospital, not really able to see anybody. And then she got transferred to her mum and dad's house because it wasn't possible for her to come home to our house. On the 27th of April 2021, we were released from our coronavirus isolation. So we went round to Sarah's mum and dad's house. And as soon as we walked through the door, it was very obvious that Sarah didn't have very much longer to go. And she died about an hour after we got through the door. On the run up to the funeral, there's so much to organise. There's so many people to tell, to talk to. There were so many people that were on eggshells around me, didn't know how to speak to me, wanted to ask me how I was, but were terrified of the answer. The funeral was one of the few times I've ever wanted the world to swallow me up. I desperately don't want to be here. I can't go forwards and I can't go back. Where am I going to go? Yeah, I was stuck. I haven't planned for this. What am I going to do? And it was everywhere I looked, there was people, and I didn't know what to do with them. Dr. Lee, he mentioned Beechwood to me the day Sarah died. He said, this will be something for you for the future. You're 6 months away, basically. The only thing I was absolutely determined was that I was going to go and get all the help I could possibly have. Counselling was tough. I'm very glad I did it. They basically told me it was okay, that life's carrying on, and you're gonna do it. There's bits that suck, and it's not fair, but you're gonna do it. And I needed someone to tell me that. Beechwood have been tremendously helpful for the girls at school. They've helped them to process and focus on school. Victoria found it incredibly useful. She engaged with her counsellor, chatted it through, and she's in a place that she can carry on with her life. To realise that there is this hole where Mummy was, and that it's not okay, but there is a hole, and life is carrying on, and you've got to keep living, basically. And for them, keeping on living is going to school, playing with their friends, and it's okay to be happy.